Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 79 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Rex West. Rex, how you doing?
What's going on, man?
You weren't expecting that at all, were you?
No.
Gibby, what's going on, my
Hey,
brother?
man, I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great. You and I finished off a family-sized pizza between the two of us.
Man, I'm paying for it too, man.
Even though my family's gone, I still went with the family size.
You did. All I know is you loaded a plate up and dropped it in front of me, and I was like, okay.
I guess I got to eat this whole thing.
I guess. I hate to waste people's food.
But it was good.
It was really good.
All right, so we got a lot of new Patreon support that we've had over the last few weeks, right? A lot of people supporting us on Patreon, checking out the Patreon episode that we did. And you and I are working on another one that's going to come out in probably about the middle of this month.
Yeah.
But we had, because of that, we've gotten a lot of new support, which is great. We love it.
I love it, man.
We had Scott Embler.
Hey, Scott.
PR.
Purr.
Is that what it stands for?
Purr.
Purr.
Yeah, that's it.
Flinty Williams.
Hey, Flinty.
It's a cool name.
Yeah.
Jennifer Gobber.
Hey, Gobber.
Jumped out at her highest level.
Yeah.
Tracy Workman.
Hey, keep working it.
Richard Saunders.
Hey, Richard.
Charles Hicks.
Charles.
Maria Fojo.
Hey, Maria.
She's a big supporter.
She's a big Fojo, too.
Of the show. She's a big supporter of criminology, too.
Yeah, she's all over, man.
Appreciate that. Virginia Bonds.
Hey, good old Virginia.
Concepcion Palacios.
Concepcion.
You're saying it much better than I am.
Concepcion.
Yep.
Yeah. Just got to stop saying it right before it ends. Just stop. Let it fade away.
That's your Spanish and Italian
Yes.
accent.
That's how I do it.
You just don't say the whole word completely.
No.
You kind of let it trail.
That's right. That's what I do.
Or you put an at the end of it.
That's you got it right.
We had Lori Hughes.
Hey, Lori.
Christy Adcock.
Hey, Christy Adcock.
Lynn Manias.
Ooh, Manias.
John Moore.
Hey, John.
Joyce Lovelace.
Joyce.
Kim Shang.
Hey, Kim Shang.
Why you got to change it up?
What?
I said Shang. You said Shang.
You just never know.
Were you just covering all of our bases?
Yeah. We'll see who's right or wrong.
Leah Tripanera.
Tripanera.
Pam Miller.
Hey, Pam.
Liam Perry.
Liam.
Signal 7, which I'm very interested in.
I have told you on the other podcast, when that comes up, you just keep moving along.
Okay.
Thank you.
David Paulson.
Hey, David.
Kay Sharp.
Okay.
Paul Wilson.
Hey, Paul.
Deb Greenway jumped out at her highest level.
Greenway.
Megan St. Louis.
Meet you in St. Louis. Get it? Meet me in St. Louis. It's Megan.
No, I get it. It just wasn't that funny.
Oh. It will be when you play it back.
I get it. I'm just messing.
Yeah.
Jennifer DeMel.
Demal.
I've said her name, I think, 3 different ways now.
I think I probably have 2.
Between the two of us, we're covering about 6 different bases.
Yeah. Demal.
Kim Weeks.
Hey, Kim.
Molly Walker Molly.
Hey, MWM.
Jen Rodriguez.
Hey, Jen.
Nancy Gaskill.
Thank you, Nancy.
Cynthia Whidden.
Hey.
Ravis Hetwer.
Ravas.
It's a cool name.
I'm a Scottish Ravas.
Kevin Conlon.
Hey, Kevin.
And F. Hunt.
Well, okay then. Thank you very much.
And then if we go back into the vault, Gibbs.
Let's go.
This week we selected Jessica Yuan.
Hey, Jessica.
Been a big supporter of the show, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, she's from far away.
Long time support.
She's across many, many oceans and continents.
Number one, you don't even know what a continent is.
Hey, she's in Taiwan.
How many continents are there?
Or is she in Philippines now? I think she's in Taiwan.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How many continents are there?
7.
Okay.
Unless one broke away.
Unless one broke off while we were podcasting.
Yeah. Now we got 8.
We had a lot of PayPal support too, Gibbs. We had Alana Bush and Samantha S. made sizable donations.
Thank you, Alana Bush and Samantha S.
Both are amazing supporters
They're
of the
great.
show.
They know we love them.
Kaya Elliott.
Hey, Kyle.
Jamie Wynn.
Thank you, Jamie.
Jillian Samet.
Jillian.
And Stacy Sherrill.
Hey, Stacy.
So we appreciate all that support.
We do. It's amazing.
Now, there's an episode out right now on True Crime All the Time on Robert Garrow.
Yes.
Yes. What was that?
It's like
You're just like admitting that there is an episode out.
It's a little gross. Not gross, disturbing.
There's some
I don't know.
parts.
It's
I mean, this is a man that murdered 4 people.
Just go home and love your pets.
But in his childhood, we'll say, did some things that are not quite above board.
Nowhere near board.
No, they're nowhere near the board.
No.
And then did some unbelievable things later in life, even after he was caught. So it's kind of a fascinating story all the way around.
Strange brew, man.
It really is. And then check out Criminology.
Yeah.
We just started season 3. The first episode is out right now.
What's that guy's name?
I think his name is Ted Bundy.
I heard about him.
You ever heard of him, Gibbs?
I'm not really sure. I mean, if he did a few things,
He
maybe?
did a few things that were less than desirable.
Yeah, so
that's for sure.
Criminology's new season. Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy out
TV.
now.
Get your shot.
Check it out.
So, you know what else is coming up, Mike?
What's that?
Somebody's turning 40.
40 years old.
Yeah.
Who might that be?
Well, that would be Jess.
Huey.
Yeah, I just go by Jess.
You're a one-word type of person.
Yeah, I mean, I figured we all knew her last name.
Me and you do. I don't know if everybody does. I don't know if everybody listening across the world knows Jess Huey.
Well, that's true.
But we're giving her a huge shout out. We love Jess. She's been a big supporter of the show. I mean, has been a listener from essentially day one.
Yeah.
I don't hold the fact that, she's a Clemson fan against her. Go Buckeyes. But we still love her.
Well, happy birthday.
And we want to wish her a happy birthday.
Yeah. Big 40.
It's a big one. I remember when I turned 40, I felt no different whatsoever.
Mine's coming up soon.
Yours is coming up.
Yeah.
You're going Benjamin Buttons on me or what?
I am going backwards. That's why I'm losing the weight. I'm shrinking.
You're shrinking?
Yeah. Before you know it, you're about to put a high chair.
Don't shrink too much. I can barely see your head over top the monitor as it is.
Yeah, you got some big monitors there. You're going to have a high chair here for me one day.
You got the torso of a 12-year-old. You get the torso length of a 12-year-old. You got long legs, but a really short body.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You're normally proportioned.
Yeah.
All right, Gibbs.
Well,
let's get into this case. We're talking on Unsolved about Barbara Jo Oberholtzer.
Yeah.
And Annette K. Schnee. And Barbara Jo went by Bobbi, so we're going to call her Bobbi.
Yes, do.
And we're going to Breckenridge, Colorado. Kind of a ski town.
It is a ski town. Now, it's a high-end, resort ski town today, but back then it was an up-and-comer. I mean, it was probably a nice ski town, but not like it is today. I mean, today it's high-end resort.
Big-time houses. And we're going back a little bit because it's on January 7th, 1982, that the body of 29-year-old Bobbi Oberholtzer was found by a scenic overlook in Breckenridge, Colorado. She had been shot twice. The police at the crime scene would find her house keys and one orange sock. But eventually later on, they would determine that this orange sock was not hers. But then in July of that same year, the police found the body of 21-year-old Annette Schnee on the side of the highway about 13 miles away from where they found Bobbi. Annette was wearing the other orange sock, and it would come out that she vanished on the same day, January 6th, as Bobbi Oberholtzer. And Annette had been shot as well with a medium caliber revolver. And we have to go back and talk about these socks, Gibbs. The socks are what really tie the two murders together, leading police to believe that both women were murdered on the same night by the same person. In the beginning, the main suspect was Bobbi's husband, Jeff Oberholtzer. And that's not unusual, right? You would expect that a spouse would be looked at. God forbid, Gibbs, if my wife was found that way, I would expect police to be knocking on my door.
Especially with your web history, man.
Well, yeah. That would not look good for me.
No.
With the research that I do.
And I'd probably try to be funny a little bit. And like, yeah, he's saying some stuff. And
Why would you do that if the police were here?
see, you go away, man.
Oh, you want the podcast to go away too?
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't do that.
I know you wouldn't.
But yeah, I mean, you would not look good with all your web history for sure,
No.
man. You would,
It's a tangled web of nothing but,
yeah.
bad stuff. I mean, that's everything that I research is something bad.
And whatever, you can never clean your web browser.
Not entirely, no.
No. So that makes me thinking now.
It's also the reason why I never let my kids use my laptop,
Well, yeah, that's probably good too.
even though they know what daddy does
Yeah.
as far as researching. They don't know all the details,
They don't
but
need to see all that stuff.
they know it's not good.
No.
But Jeff Oberholtzer was very quick, Gibbs, to point out his innocence. Now, during the investigation, the police learned that he and Bobbi got married on July 1st, 1977. Jeff managed an appliance repair business while Bobbi was working as a receptionist in the city of Breckenridge. They lived in the town of Alma, which was about 14 miles away from Breckenridge. Jeff told the authorities that Bobbi left the house around 7:15 that morning and was going to hitchhike her way to work. Now, Gibbs, you and I have talked about the fact that hitchhiking was obviously more prevalent back in the day, but I guess that still seems a little strange to me to hitchhike to work in the morning.
Yeah, I guess when do you decide what time you're going to start? How confident are you're going to catch a ride?
Right, because if no one picks you up by a certain time, you're going to be late to work.
Yeah. Now, she was an attractive woman, so maybe she just wasn't too worried, but I don't know. I just don't know how you feel confident unless it was a really busy thoroughfare that you just knew.
Well, the other thing, it's January in Colorado.
Yeah, it's probably. Well, I know it's cold because their state that it was one of the coldest days of the year.
So that some of that's a little odd to me.
Yeah,
but
below freezing for sure.
Not unheard of. Just a little odd.
Yeah.
Jeff wouldn't hear from Bobbi again until later that night, 6:20 p.m., when she called him to say that she was out with friends.
Yeah.
He asked her if she wanted him to come get her, but she said no, she was okay. She would catch a ride home later.
This is back in the day, man, before cell phones, or might have been right around the time the big old
Oh, if there was a cell phone, it was the big brick one.
yeah.
Because 82 is pretty early.
Yeah, I think it was right before Crockett had the cell phone and everybody else ended up getting them. Crockett.
The brick. Yeah, I know. You talking about Miami Vice?
Yeah.
Yeah. 82 is early, but there might have been one, but if it was the brick, and not very
What was
many
your first one?
people had one. I had a flip phone. I can't remember what it was called.
I bet you had a bag phone. You just don't want to say.
No, I never had a bag phone. It was a flip phone, but only the bottom half actually flipped.
Was it one of the gray ones?
Yeah, the gray.
Yeah.
Still brick.
Motorola.
Yeah, still brick kind of looking,
Yeah.
but not like the real big brick.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those.
That was the first one I had.
Yeah.
But you're right. No cell phones. No way for him probably to get a hold of her. Mm-mm. He had to wait for her to call him.
Yeah. Back then, people had their pagers.
She might have had a pager.
You probably had 3 pagers.
I don't even know how prevalent pagers were in 82
Yeah.
outside of doctors. I remember having a pager like more in the 90s, 95, 96. I had one for work. I don't know when pagers got big, but I was thinking it was the 90s.
It might have been.
Maybe late 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
I don't know, but no matter what, it's pretty safe to say that Bobbi would not have had a cell phone.
No.
And most likely wouldn't have had a pager either. Now, her last known stop in Breckenridge was at approximately 7:50 p.m. on that night, Wednesday, January 6th, leaving the Village Pub. It was in the same building as the office that Bobbi worked in, and she was with some other people from the office. They were celebrating a promotion. She was seen after that. She was seen alone near the mini mart, which is about 100 yards from where the pub was, hitchhiking southbound out of town. When interviewed, Jeff told the police that he made dinner that night and waited for his wife to come home. But eventually he fell asleep.
Yeah, that's the worst thing, man. When you think someone's going to be home at a certain time, or you're expecting somebody to show up or call at a certain time and they don't, and the time keeps clicking away, and before you know it, it's hours later.
Well, like we said, back then, especially because your options of getting a hold of people were much slimmer.
Yeah.
I don't even like it now when I try to call my wife on the cell and she doesn't answer. I get worried when she doesn't answer.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I get that, I mean, it's like, it's the reason to have cell phones, Just reply back, I'm okay. I'm still alive.
Something.
Remember that we do podcasts about true crime, and we just want to make sure you're not dead.
Now, he would wake up around midnight, find out that Bobbi had not returned home yet, which to him, as he would say, that was not like her. She was not the type of person to stay out all night long, especially when she told him that she would be home. So he's awake now. He waited up till 2 a.m. because he knew that's when the bars closed. He waited. She still didn't show up. And he decided to go out, search for Bobbi. And it was during the search that he ran into some of her friends as the bars were closing down. They told him that she left around 7:30 p.m. and they thought she got a ride home. So they were all under the impression that she would have been at home by that time. Jeff attempted to file a missing person report, but the police told him that it was too early. She hadn't been missing for a long enough period of time. They essentially, Gibbs told him to go home and wait for her. It would be the next morning that a local farmer who lived 13 miles outside of Breckenridge found Bobbi's driver's license. Jeff was contacted and along with some friends went out to pick up the driver's license. And on the way, they spotted Bobbi's blue backpack, partially covered in the snow. They also noticed a blood-spattered glove, and there were some bloody tissues inside her backpack. So he's got to be extremely worried at this point, Gibbs, finding some of her personal belongings, especially when some of it is covered in blood.
Yeah, I'd be nervous, man.
So they are frantically searching for her, and it's about 2 hours after this that they find her body. But they find it about 15 miles away from where they found the backpack. And by this time, it's about 3 p.m. And the location where they find Bobbi's body is near the summit of Hoosier Pass. It's about 10 miles south of the city of Breckenridge.
Yeah.
So Bobbi's body is found on January 7th. And it's that same day that police learn that Annette Schnee is missing as well. Annette was a cocktail waitress from Frisco, Colorado.
Yeah, like a little farm town, Frisco.
And just like Bobbi, she would hitchhike to and from work.
That's what you did back then, man.
Maybe in Colorado. I don't think that's what you did here in 1982. I mean, I was pretty young, but...
You don't remember?
I don't think there was a lot of hitchhiking to and from work going on.
Yeah, I guess probably out there it was more, because it was so rural, maybe it was just more what you did.
Maybe people were a lot more friendly, too.
Yeah, that's true. It is a friendly state. So.
It is. I love Colorado.
Yeah, I do, too.
There's some similarities here, right? 2 missing women, both known to hitchhike to and from work. Attractive. These 2 cases are immediately connected by police. Now, Annette's last known stop was in Breckenridge, Colorado, at about 4:45 p.m. on Wednesday, January 6th. And it was leaving a pharmacy called the drugstore where she had filled a prescription. She was seen talking with an unidentified woman and was heard reminding the woman to buy cigarettes.
That's somebody you would think you knew pretty good. I mean, to say, hey, don't forget to buy some cigarettes.
It's not something I would say to somebody I didn't know, that's for sure.
Yeah. Get your cigs, man.
Annette was scheduled to be at work at 8 p.m. that night at the Flipside Bar back in Breckenridge.
Flipside. Get you on the flip side. That's where it came from, see? Get you on the flip side.
You think that's where they got the name?
Yeah. Get you on the flip side.
Maybe.
What's the strangest name you ever heard for a bar?
The Dewdrop Inn?
You hang there a lot, do you?
No. I always thought that was a cool name for a bar, though.
Dewdrop in. Dewdrop in. Come on. Huh.
But what police found very strange was that her uniform was still at her home, which doesn't make a lot of sense, Gibbs. If she is supposed to be at work at 8 p.m., she's going to need that uniform.
Yeah, so she's running behind or something's up because she's not going to make her shift with her uniform at that point.
Now, just like they questioned Jeff about his wife, they also questioned him about Annette. And he initially denied knowing her. But apparently, he saw a picture of her on a news broadcast, after which he told police he did remember meeting her once. He claimed that he had picked her up one day and gave her his business card. But he denied any involvement in her disappearance or the death of his wife. And we talked about the fact that Annette's body would not be found for 6 months, right? July 3rd, 1982. We talked about the fact that she was wearing the orange sock. What we haven't mentioned yet is that Jeff's business card was also found. Her body was found in a place called Sacramento Creek, which is a very isolated mountain valley area. And you mentioned the fact, Gibbs, that it was very cold back on the January day that both Annette and Bobbi went missing. It could have been as much as 20 below. And it also may have been snowing in the area on that night. So in the case of Annette, because it was so long after she disappeared that she was found, the cold air, the cold water, all of that helped preserve the body.
For forensics, I mean, it's a blessing,
Even though she wasn't found until July, which is kind of amazing.
I mean, if that was, a swampy type of climate, there would be nothing there for forensics to really look at.
Annette's body was found fully clothed, but her clothing was in disarray. So police investigators are trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together.
They're going to start weaving this in and out and try to make heads or tails out of it for sure.
They know Annette was last seen in Breckenridge around 4 p.m., having some type of conversation with an unidentified dark-haired woman. The woman was described as a white female, 5'4", with a slender build. Police believed that Annette left to hitchhike back home around 5 p.m. and that her killer picked her up and drove her 20 miles south of Breckenridge.
We talk about this all the time, all the stories we've done about hitchhiking. Don't hitchhike. Don't hitchhike.
Well, this one should really drive it home.
Yeah, I thought the other ones would have, but this one hopefully does. Don't hitchhike.
No, definitely don't hitchhike. But you've got two women hitchhiking separately, essentially killed on the same night?
Yeah.
That should really drive it home.
I would hope.
So police theorize that after her killer picked her up and drove her about 20 miles south of Breckenridge, he took her down an isolated dead-end road where he sexually assaulted her in his vehicle. They believe that while she was putting her clothes back on, and possibly while she was attempting to escape, she failed to put back on one of her orange socks.
Yeah, I think she saw an opportunity and bolted. She said, I got a window, very small window. I'm going.
But they believe that the killer grabbed his gun, shot Annette in the back as she was trying to flee, and left her body in the snow. Police thought that the murderer was someone familiar with the mountains because this remote area where her body was found was pretty close to a well-known kind of, what do you call it, Gibbs, like a makeshift firing range.
Yeah, so that wouldn't draw a lot of attention, right? If most of the locals know there's a makeshift firing range up there, so you hear a couple shots go off, whatever, you're not alarmed, you're not calling anybody, you think somebody's up there just target shooting.
Well, if you're going to shoot somebody,
Yeah.
next to a firing range is a really smart place to shoot someone.
Yeah.
Because as you said, it's not going to draw a lot of attention. People around are used to hearing the sounds of gunfire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And after a while, you just kind of write that stuff off. You don't even think about it anymore. Much different, and I think I've said this before, but if I hear somebody crack one off here in the subdivision,
right.
I'm at DEFCON 5.
Yeah, you are, man.
Because that's not a sound that I expect to hear
No.
in my little enclave here.
Yeah. And you've actually had a bullet come through your roof here.
I did. Somebody shot a 9mm through the second story of my house, and it scared the bejeebies out of the whole family.
Yeah.
Luckily, we weren't home at the time.
No, but it's a bizarre story, though, man.
Yeah, I called police, and they did the whole CSI dowel rod thing and everything.
Yeah. Figured it came from, about half a mile away or something?
Yeah, there's like a farm that's a pretty good ways away.
Yeah.
That they believe maybe somebody was shooting and one got away from them or something.
Yeah. And landed in your
It's
roof.
still scary, though.
It is scary, man. It could have landed on...
It could have come through at any point in the house when we were home. It could have hit someone.
You could have been walking out of your truck, walking up to your door, and boom.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all, believe me. Now, what police also believed was that after this happened, the killer returned to the Breckenridge area where he picked up Bobbi. He drove her 10 miles south where he also tried to rape her. But police believe that she fought back and tried to escape his vehicle from the very beginning. And it was as she attempted the escape, they think the orange sock fell out of his vehicle, right? Because it would have been left in the vehicle and maybe was kicked out as Bobbi was trying to flee. So these are the pieces of the puzzle that they're trying to put together. Bobbi was shot twice, once in the chest, and the second shot grazed her right breast as she attempted to escape over a snow embankment on the side of the highway. So one thing that they did know for sure was what type of gun was used. It was a revolver, and the bullets were Remington copper-jacketed hollow points. And hollow point bullets, Gibbs, they do a lot of damage. Much more so than a full jacketed bullet because they expand the moment that they enter the body, and they just create this much bigger wound cavity.
It's like spreads out to like the size of a nickel or a quarter or something like that.
Yeah, it does spreads out, much bigger. Mushrooms, they call it. It looks like a mushroom,
Right.
Like a head kind
versus
of
your full metal
forms.
jackets. That
Stays
just goes right through you.
Yeah, stays pretty much the same, and most likely will go through.
Yeah.
Rather than stay in the body. But Bobbi would ultimately die in the deep snow on the other side of this embankment. She was found lying on her back, face up, 300 feet south of the parking lot at the top of the pass. And this is only about 20 feet from the southbound lane of Highway 9. That's not very far.
It's not.
20 feet is not far at all. When they examined her body, they didn't find any signs of sexual assault. But again, I think this goes back to police theory that she put up a fight from the minute that she sensed something was wrong. From the moment that the killer tried to sexually assault her, she began fighting. And we mentioned how cold it was that night. Maybe as low as 20 below. And it had been snowing, because snow was piled up from the plows that had been running up and down Highway 9. The only footprints that police found at the scene were determined to belong to Bobbi. The other thing that they found was a plastic zip tie on one of Bobbi's wrists. And Gibbs, we have to get back to Jeff Oberholtzer. We talked about the fact that he's a suspect in Bobbi's murder from the beginning. He also becomes very quickly a suspect in the disappearance of Annette. Police felt that it was more than a coincidence that he had known both victims. 2 months after the murders, Jeff was asked to take a polygraph test, and he would eventually decide that he was going to take it. So he does. And he passes the polygraph, and he's been telling police that he has an alibi for that night. Jeff has told police that at the time that the murders were committed, he was with a friend. This is a man that Jeff knew who had dropped by his house for a visit. And this is a guy that could corroborate his alibi. The problem is the police can't find him. And it's not just that they can't find him for a month or 2 months. 9 years, Gibbs. They're looking for this guy and they can't find him. But eventually they do. In December of 1990, he finally surfaces and police question him about that night. He does verify that he visited Jeff that night. The only problem is his time and Jeff's time of the visit don't match up. There is some discrepancy about the times. So that has to leave police a little bit leery still of Jeff. It's got to keep him on the radar, right?
Yeah.
Now, Jeff comes out and says that he believes that Bobbi was killed by someone she knew, in large part because he doesn't think that she would have gone with a stranger. And to back that up, right, he had given her the option. He had said that he would come pick her up. She said no. She could have called him to come get her if she had any trouble finding a ride with someone she knew. I think this is what Jeff is thinking. But police have never been able to identify the dark-haired woman last seen with Annette on January 6th. We talked about her. White female, 5'4", slender build. Police would really like to question her, but they've never been able to because they don't know who she is. So Jeff has passed the polygraph. He's given an alibi. So we fast forwarded a minute there, right, Gibbs, to talk about them finding Jeff's friend 9 years later. But let's go back. Now let's talk a little bit about DNA. There was DNA that was recovered. There was blood found on Bobbi's gloves. There were the tissues inside her backpack. But it wouldn't be until the early 1990s when DNA testing would determine that the DNA left on these things came from a male, which is important.
Yeah.
Which number one means it's not Bobbi's.
Right.
But the other thing that it determined was that it wasn't Jeff's.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's what he needed, what he wanted.
So you have this DNA evidence, you have the alibi witness, and eventually Jeff is cleared as a suspect in the murders.
Yeah. Yeah. So, he can move forward. That'd be a weird thing, to be a suspect in your wife's murder for a long time. You're trying to grieve, trying to get over things, but yet you're still a suspect, and eventually you're set free, clear, whatever. But just during that time, I just think that would be really strange, really weird, because you're going to have some people that might be suspicious because just the fact that you haven't been cleared, maybe you did, and if it's family, that's rough.
I think you could have friends and family that have questions.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. That maybe aren't 100% sure. And it's not like Jeff was cleared in a month, 2 months, 6 months. This was like 10 years later, give or take. That's a long time for that cloud to be hanging over your head. This case first aired on television on May 1st, 1991. It's also been featured on a show called Sensing Murder that was on the Discovery Channel in 2006. That show followed a couple of psychics, and they suggested that Annette had not died where she was found. Police have looked into several different suspects in this case other than Jeff Oberholtzer. One person was a man named Thomas Edward Luther, who beat and raped a hitchhiker after picking her up in Breckenridge. And this was in February of 1982.
Yeah.
And apparently while he was in jail, he bragged about being responsible for the murders. It was also said that he failed 2 lie detector tests when questioned. And investigators learned from his girlfriend that he didn't come home the night of the murders. And he also didn't show up for work in the days surrounding the murders. But apparently when he was questioned, he lied and said he was at work. But when the DNA testing came out, it was not his DNA that was on some of the evidence found at the scene. But even despite this, investigators have looked into the possibility that maybe it was not him alone. Maybe he was an accomplice, or maybe he had an accomplice whose DNA was at the scene. But this was a really bad guy, Gibbs. There's no doubt about that. You know, he was responsible for probably more than 9 murders. And this was spread out over a number of states. He would shoot or stab his victims in Vermont, Colorado, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. But his name is one that comes up a lot when you're talking about unsolved cases anywhere around the Colorado area, especially if it involves hitchhiking. He's also been mentioned in the West Mesa unsolved cases in Arizona as well. Another suspect was Tracy Petrocelli, who shot his fiancée to death in Seattle, Washington in October of 1981. But he didn't stop there. After that, he went on a multi-state crime spree. And it's known that during this time, he stayed at the Holiday Inn in Frisco, Colorado. And like we said, that's where Annette worked.
Yeah.
In Frisco. But the DNA doesn't match him either. But that hasn't eliminated him from the suspect list for investigators, because Petrocelli was known to pick up male hitchhikers and use them as accomplices in his crimes. And then it's believed that after the crime was committed, he would kill the accomplice. So it is possible that the DNA belongs to one of these accomplices. Petrocelli and an unidentified accomplice test drove a car from a car dealership. And during the drive, the accomplice, who was sitting in the back seat, shot the car salesman, but did not kill him. And I guess this guy got away somehow. I don't know how he got out of this situation, but he lived, got away, and was later able to identify Petrocelli. So police went and questioned Tracy Petrocelli about the crime. He told them the only town he stayed in was Breckenridge, Colorado, where he stayed overnight at a hotel. And the hotel he named was one where Annette Schnee had been working. When questioned, Petrocelli denied killing Schnee. But again, it's possible that the blood found on some of Bobbi's things could have been that of the accomplice, because that guy's never been found. Police don't have any idea who he is or if he's still even alive. Petrocelli was later arrested and convicted of killing James Wilson, a Nevada car salesman, while he was test driving a Volkswagen pickup. So there's some possibilities here, but police don't believe that it's any of these guys. They believe that the killer is someone else, not yet named, not yet known, but someone who was familiar with the rural road where Annette's body was discovered. Officially, the murders remain unsolved. Now, in January of 2015, investigators asked the public for help with this case, but it's unknown if any new leads were uncovered. There is a homicide task force that continues to work this case. Jeff Oberholtzer remarried years ago, and he says that, he has coped with Bobbi's death the best that he could. He's dedicated his time and love to his new family, but he still has a lot of bad days.
I bet, man. I can only imagine. Not knowing.
I mean, that was his wife. Now, he might move on with his life. He might, he remarried, might have kids. He might do a lot of things. But you will never forget about that. And that's going to creep into your head, I would imagine, Gibbs.
I would think.
on a regular basis. The what ifs, the grief. That would be hard to, I don't think you're going to get over that. But he is very happy that the task force is still working the case, still working to solve the mystery, to provide much needed answers to everyone who loved Bobbi and who loved Annette. And he's quoted as saying, "I need my answers just like everyone else in the family." So this case is tragic, Gibbs. There's no doubt about that. But the details of it are fascinating at the same time. You know, the fact that these two women were apparently killed on the same night, but in two different places. And what ties them together is the sock from one woman.
Yeah.
That part really kind of sticks with me, right? What if that sock doesn't fall out of the vehicle, is not kicked out?
Yeah, I think it makes it a little more difficult. I mean, I think the fact that they both were shot, I think the fact that...
not too far away from each other.
Not too far from each other. I think you kind of can place it as the same, but this orange sock definitely, loops it all and ties it up in a pretty little bow to let you know that they're related.
And you feel bad for Jeff, like we talked about.
Yeah, I feel bad for all the the victims' loved ones, but yeah, I mean, he definitely, because like you said, you're always, if you're a spouse, you're going to be a suspect for a little bit, and he was a suspect for quite a while until he got cleared.
And then you've got a couple of interesting suspects that were obviously horrible people. They committed a number of crimes. Could they have done it? Possibly.
Yeah.
But again, police haven't been able to connect them. What's the one thing in this case that is hopeful to me is the fact that it seems like they have pretty good DNA evidence.
Right. And
we know some of the amazing things that they've been doing recently with older DNA. They've been finding new ways to tie that DNA to people. And this is one of those I could see some big news coming out in the future.
Could be. Could be.
But that's it. That is the unsolved case of the murders of Bobbi Oberholtzer and Annette Schnee. Gibbs, we've got some voicemails.
Let's do voicemails.
Check those out.
Hey guys, it's Tia in Oregon again. When Gibby does that, the old so-and-so, you know what he sounds like? He sounds like Maxwell Smart, like the old shoe in the hat trick or whatever. And every time he says that, that's what I hear. So now you can just start calling him Smart. And I'm sure he'll get a kick out of that because he thinks he's pretty smart, right? So there you go. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks. Bye.
So first of all, I would never call you smart.
Why wouldn't you? She just said I'm old.
I don't know.
Old Maxwell Smart.
I feel bad for having said it now.
Yeah. Now you feel bad.
but truthfully, I never thought about it. But I used to watch Get Smart all the time.
Did you really?
The reruns.
The old Get Smart.
The old Get Smart.
Yeah. Did you notice she said flip side, by the way, which was the
Did she?
lounge bar right. that the victim worked at. She used it in the voicemail.
You're right.
How unique is that?
He did say it very much like the way you say it. He stressed the old.
Yeah.
The old
shoe
in the punch bowl trick or whatever he would say. No. But whatever he would say.
Well, I say it my way.
I'm just going to start calling you Maxwell.
Maxwell? No, I'm Rex West, man. Rex West.
Maxwell Smart.
Hi, this is Jill Miller from Chicago. Quick heads up, I'm a mailman, and the reason the poker chip probably came out is that 95% of all mail is computer sorted, and those machines are kind of rough. So heads up on anyone who mails you a chip. I have a couple that I'm going to put in the mail to you. I am binge watching, which is why I'm a bit behind the chip trend. But they need to take those chips and tape them to a piece of paper and fold them and put them in the envelope. When they're loose in the envelope, they shift and can easily kind of get squeezed and popped out when the machine is sorting them. It runs like left to right and they could push the chip out. So I just wanted to pass it along that that's probably what happened to the chip. It was probably found loose at the bottom of a big bin and they had no idea which letter it went with. So, or envelope, please make sure you tape that down and it should get there no problem. Have a good day, and I'm keeping my own time ticket.
So I love that voicemail.
Yeah.
Because
it's like watching that TV show, how things work.
How things get made.
Yeah. Now we know how the post office works and how they sort mail and why things happen the way they happen.
Well, because we have a lot of listeners who have very cool jobs, very technical knowledge on certain things.
Sure.
But this has been one of the great unsolved mysteries of
what happened to your damn poker chip?
The last 2 months for me.
Yeah. Where's my poker chip, man? Now you know.
And I think it's the simplest explanation. I just never even thought about that. But hearing her say it, yeah, it sounds totally logical that that's most likely what happened. Now, the one thing that I have noticed is since I talked about the fact that it came out of, was separated from the envelope that way, people have started taping them to something.
It's good.
So
tape them up.
That's the only one that's been lost to date that I know of.
They can stick.
So.
Hey guys, it's Kara from Nashville, Tennessee. I just wanted to let you know that I absolutely love both of the podcasts. I listen to them all the time. It's kind of replaced music, you and Sword and Scale. So just wanted to call and drop some love and tell you to keep it coming. I wish I had some suggestions for you, but I don't. You guys just kind of nail it every time. And so I follow you guys on Instagram. I'm Red Moonsicle. Just love the pictures you guys put up of everything. Pictures are huge to me. I love old photographs. So anyways, I'll let you go. I just wanted to reach out again and let you know that my voicemail messed up. But anyway, have a good weekend. See ya.
We love it when people drop some love.
We do. From Nashville, too. We were just in Nashville not too long ago.
Is that your Nashville accent?
No, my Nashville's like this, you know what I'm saying?
That sounds like Liam Neeson.
Oh, that was a good Liam Neeson.
That was actually a very good Liam Neeson.
If I could get that working at the same time when I really need it, it's like my voices are the opposite of what I'm trying to do.
Right.
If I could get them to line up.
And what's funny is you did Liam Neeson like in his own voice.
Yes,
because
like Nashville.
He's not from the United States. It was a great impersonation.
It was.
But you're trying to do a Nashville accent, and you somehow do Liam Neeson from
Scottish,
Ireland, or wherever he's from.
Yeah. Well,
It was good, though.
It was good. Remember this day.
That actually wasn't too bad either. You kind of sound like you got a little. I got chills there.
Yeah.
You got a little Liam Neeson going.
Yeah. Be scared.
If you could get I have a special set of skills and do it in that voice, that would be awesome.
It would be.
Fergie, Gibby, God, I love this podcast of yours. I started a couple months back, and what I did is I actually started with the newest episodes and just been working my way back. And I kept on hearing you guys talk about this frog demon, and I knew eventually I'd get around to figuring it out, but today, after listening to the Dodd episode, I jumped back to where I was, which is down into like episode 42. And I decided to just go ahead and jump all the way down to episode 1 and start working my way back up. I don't know why. But anyway, so now I'm on BTK. Finally, I get what the frog demon's about. And I've listened to multiple books about BTK, and I never heard that aspect. So I thought it was so cool that you guys brought that up. Thank you guys. You're doing an excellent job. Your dynamic is impeccable, and love listening to you on the road and all day during my job, working construction with my earbuds in. So thanks, guys. You make my day go well, and hope things are going great for you guys, and keep your own time ticking. Hey, guys, I just left the last message, and I forgot to tell you who I am. So this is Tim from Long Beach, California, and again, love the show. Thanks, guys.
So awesome. Great voicemail from Tim. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
We love when people binge.
That's a weird way to binge.
But yeah, most people go backwards.
Yeah.
And they see our evolution. Now, what happens if you start and you go backwards? Do we get much worse as we go?
Yeah, because like you said, most people start from the beginning, work their way forward. He decided to start from the newest and go to the oldest, and then reverse it back up again.
I actually wish all new people would start at the beginning, because I think we are better. Most people say we're better than when we started, and that's natural for anything, right? You
you finally found your groove and you caught up to the rest of us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were always at a very high level podcasting wise.
When I only say 5 words an episode, I mean, really think about it. It's,
there's really no way to go up or down.
No, my impressions got better. Boy,
The impressions have not gotten better, except for the Liam Neeson.
The Liam Neeson. It was a much better impression this time.
Hey, Mike and Gibby. Randy here, calling from Vancouver, Washington. I was listening to this week's episode with Leon Dodd's story. Oof, that was brutal and sick. And as soon as it was revealed that he moved to my city, I went, no! I cannot believe, like, it adds a new layer to be like, oh, I've been there. I know that street. I know the park. Holy shit. Excuse my language. And since I've moved here, I've noticed how there's a lot of true crime stories that happened around Portland, Vancouver. Like there's the tube sock killings. There's a bunch of stuff in the actual city of Portland. That long haul trucker guy got convicted in Clark County. So I'm gonna keep my ears and eyes open because you don't know who you can trust anymore. So I'll be sure to keep my own time ticking, and I hope that you guys do too. Thanks.
There is a lot of crime up in the Washington Northwest
Territory,
where
Bigfoot is known
Sasquatch
to be.
Now, obviously, I think it was something wrong with the software there. So we did the tube sock killer.
We did
on Unsolved.
Yeah, you wore tube socks that day.
I did.
Yeah.
We was she talking about? I was trying to. Was she talking about
trucker? Yeah, we did do the long haul trucker. One of them. You've done several long haul truckers, but up in Washington, we did the.
We did Jesperson,
yeah.
But was he up in Washington? I think he was.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's one she's talking about or not, but yeah, there does seem to be. I mean, there's crime everywhere, right? You could pick any state, any city,
yeah,
and with a little bit of research, you can find more crime cases than you're comfortable with.
Yeah, absolutely.
In our own city, where we live,
man.
we can find a lot. So
yeah, Pleasantville has it.
Pleasantville. I actually love that movie.
Did you?
That's one of my favorite movies.
Is that a movie?
Pleasant. You never seen Pleasantville?
Yeah, I was messing with you.
Okay. It's much better than Escape Plan. Let me put it that way.
But Escape Plan's great, man.
I'd take Pleasantville over Escape Plan any day.
Escape Plan. I'd be back.
Escape from Pleasantville.
I'd be back.
That's the easiest impression to do, and you're way off.
I'd be back.
I don't know. I'm not even buying that. That and Jack Nicholson are like the two easiest ones to do.
The one from The Shining?
Yeah, that's Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
You just
Is it the Stanley Hotel?
I don't have the hair to actually pull it back.
Stanley Hotel, room 217. Woo.
Is that what it's called? The Stanley?
I think that's where Stephen King wrote it. That's where he got his inspiration.
I didn't know that. All right, Gibbs, that is it. It's it for another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
So you're not like my Arnold Schwarzenegger accent. I'd be back.
What were you trying to do the first time? Was that supposed to be Arnold too?
I'd be back. You do not like my accent.
Accenta.
I don't know, man. I just roll with it. Oi.
Are you doing...
All right, mate.
It's like you're doing an Italian caricature of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, that's good. That's so good. I like that.
It's great.
I'll be back.
You should take this act on the road.
I should.
That's all there is to it.
It'll be a one-man show.
Why are you even bothering with podcasting?
That's what I think all the time.
You've got these impressions down so well.
Oi, matey, you know it.
Just take them on the road.
I'm Liam.
Sell out.
I'm Liam.
Carnegie Hall.
I'm Liam.
Sell out.
Carnegie,
Music City,
the janitor room,
radio,
the janitor room. Come on, we still have seats left. Come on in here. There's 2 seats in here.
There's 2 people can watch this show.
Can somebody come in here, please? I'll pay you.
You crack me up, man.
Here's the money. buy my ticket.
You would have to pay.
I'd have to pay just to get people to come see me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe Team Gibby come see me.
No, Team Gibby would come see you and they'd laugh their ass off.
Then it'd be no longer Team Gibby.
But there'd be 95% of the people in there going, what in the hell is wrong with this guy?
Does he have ADD?
There is something seriously wrong with
Does
this
he smoke
person.
shit? What does he do? Is he drinking again? I don't know.
Oh, shit, Gibbs. I forgot to
Why
turn
do you
the
do
thing
that,
off.
man?
I don't know.
Race that shit.